So we are a little bit ahead of time for our second guest, but we're going to go ahead and bring her on because she's in the waiting room. And her name is Sharon Jenkins. Sharon, I have known Sharon for actually many years, but she has a new initiative that she's recently started, and it is called the Literary Legacy Writers Program. And when she described the program to me, I thought it was a really intriguing idea. And I'll let her explain it to you and describe it. But the reason I thought it was intriguing was because so many people tell me they want to write a book for their family, for the legacy. So the information about family history won't be lost and things like that. So Sharon has actually crafted a program to tackle that very thing. So Sharon, welcome to Black Authors Matter TV.
I am glad to be here. Hello, ladies.
Good evening. Good evening.
So you wear many hats and you've been in the literary space for, I don't know, a long time. And I'm trying to, a lot of times when people come on that I know, I try to remember where I met them. Sometimes I'm successful and sometimes I'm not. Because I've known you for a long time.
Yes.
I don't remember where we met though.
I do.
You do? Okay.
Oh, do tell.
Okay.
You were on my list. When I moved to Houston, I was looking for Black bookstores. And I researched you when I lived in North Carolina. So you were on my list as one of the priorities to find your bookstore when I moved here to Houston, which was back in 2001.
Okay, well,
Wow.
that was the year we opened the store. We went online. No, we opened in 2000. We opened in 2000. We went online in December of 98, but we opened the store in 2000. So you were right after we opened. Okay, so you saw us out Kush City when we had our store. Okay, and then you frequented the store. So that's all right. So that makes sense.
Well, Sharon has been around for me. I think our paths have crossed as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Now, I can't remember where we met, but
I think we met on one of those listservs because, remember back in the early 2000s, we were all doing the listservs. All those writers groups that were on Yahoo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think that's how we met, through one of those groups.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Yes, I was never on the listserv. I didn't do listserv.
Yeah, see, that was before Facebook became a thing.
Yeah, I didn't do MySpace. I never was on there. What did I try? I tried to do something. Was it Black Planet? Did I try to do something?
No, not Black Planet, because that was more like social media. These were more like emails where we just kind of emailed and talked through emails.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I may have been on a couple, but I never did it like frequently. But
I'll tell you, those listservs are how I became an author. And because I was interested in being a writer, so I used to join those writers groups on the listservs, just so I can kind of learn from other people. And one of the authors happened to post a company that was looking for new authors. So I just took the chance and emailed the company my manuscript, and they accepted it. And that's how I was able to get my first book, Cheating in the Next Room, published.
Oh, that is huge.
It is.
That's why those listservs were great. I'm still friends with some of the people I met in those groups.
Oh, wow. That's huge.
Yes, it is. So Sharon, tell us about your program first.
Yes.
The one that you've done with the legacy. What made you come up with the idea to do a program around it?
Because the dialogue, cross-generational dialogue, is at a standstill, unfortunately, because that wide span from boomers to Generation X, Z, or whatever the generation that's popular is right now, is so wide and broad, and there's no communication. There's a lack, unfortunately, there's a lack of respect, and there is a lack of understanding. So I remember the way we made it over. Remember the old phrase, made it over.
Yes, how I got over.
God. Yeah, the way we did that was our elders would tell us stories, things that you wouldn't read in a book, things you wouldn't read in the newspaper, to help us gain an understanding of who we are, to center us and to educate us on, who we are, not that societal construct, but who we are as a people and where you came from. And we all know it's very important to know about the roots of a tree. And because if you don't know about the roots of a tree, there's a real powerful chance that the wind can come and blow it over if it doesn't have strong roots. So as we walk through the times, we never thought, no, I never thought I'd see a pandemic like the size that we saw. I never thought that I would see, unfortunately, the racial divide in this country. Matter of fact, I was so naive to the severity of that particular divide. When I went to ORU in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I did a research on the 1921 riot and got an opportunity to speak to one of the survivors. And that's where the light bulb came on. And so one day, I know y'all gonna laugh at this, but it's real. I'm not making this up. One day, you know how we used to have the mailboxes and you could go to the mailboxes any time of day. The post office was closed, but you could go to your mailbox any time of day. So I went down there, and I was a lot younger, went down there twitching and going in there to get my mail, and nobody was there. And all of a sudden, this older Caucasian man showed up. And I always, if I think something might happen, you know what I mean? I'm going to speak to you. I'm going to do an eye to eye. We're going to look at each other. And the moral of the story, he said, there's going to be a race war. I don't know what said that to me. I guess I was the only
Now, what year was this? I'm trying to do it. What year was this? Or what time period was this?
1994.
Okay, because I'm trying to get the context of. So okay.
1994.
Well, and you were in Oklahoma?
Yeah, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't understand that huge divide because I lived in Detroit, I lived in Virginia. It was all about rah, rah, rah. We got this thing. It's, we handle business. And so anyway, let me make this story quick. He said, it's going to be a race war. And he said, you need to go and buy you some property out in the country and set up a home for all your folks. I was like, crazy old man. I didn't say that to his face, but in my mind, I was saying, crazy old man, ain't nothing like that gonna happen. We progressing, we not regressing.
Right.
So when I saw what was happening in our world today, that his words came back to me. That's 1994, we're in 2023. And I said to myself, he knew. Was that a prophetic thing or whatever? But whatever it was, that we have to maintain our history, and we have to revalidate the elders of our community because they are valuable. For me, God wouldn't let you reach a certain age if you didn't have value. If you have fulfilled your purpose, right? That's the way I see it. And so we still have a keen opportunity to do something with this generation. We shouldn't forsake it because it's difficult. How many things in our lives have been difficult? Almost everything.
Mhm.
But we still have the responsibility to educate, inform, inspire, and empower our young people to prosper and to live the best quality of life possible in the world that we live in, whether we're here or whether we're gone. And a book is the way to do it.
Well, that is true. You know, a lot of the books that were popular in the 60s, from just reading about what people were reading, that they were saying they were reading books that had been written in the 40s and the 50s. You know, and when the books were originally written, they may not have gotten as much traction because you couldn't really get the distribution like we can get books now everywhere. But at that time, the distribution was a challenge. They had to advertise in a Black publication like Ebony or Jet or something like that, or a Black newspaper, or because there weren't that many Black bookstores. That was a phenomenon that started more in the 70s, I think. And even then, there weren't that many because we had one lady that had a bookstore, and she said that her father started it, and the FBI used to watch, stand across the street and watch him because they considered him to be distributing subversive literature, even though he was just selling books. And this was in the 60s, the early 60s. But the bookstore is still open. The daughter and the granddaughter, it stayed in the family. And I don't remember her name. I think was she in New York? I can't remember. But it was not that long ago. It was in the last year that we had her on the show. And she was telling us about that, about the FBI watching their store. So now, I don't know how much young people are reading books by people that aren't in their generation. There are a lot of new books coming out by people in their age group, fantasies, and that's a good thing. There are different there's new genres even being established, which is a good thing. But I don't know if they are reaching back. I really don't know.
Well, they may not be
They
reaching.
may not now. It may come later. You know, they may be curious later. And that's what you're talking about, leaving the information behind for whomever needs it later on.
And that's what I like about the program that you have, writing your legacy. And I think often, I know my mom talks about it all the time. As she's getting older, she'd like to write her memoirs. She wants to leave a legacy behind. And so I think it's a beautiful program that you've gotten started to help these people as they're getting older to tell their stories. Because I think almost the griot tradition is going away because people just don't want to sit and listen anymore.
But remember, during the pandemic, people were seeking and searching things.
Yes.
They were looking for their why. Okay, so we're talking about the rumors of war and all this global warming and all this stuff that is happening that didn't happen before. And so I believe that when our seniors sit down and write, that will be the resource. I don't always use a dictionary, but when I need one, it's available to me. I don't remember encyclopedias. Remember the whole
we had a set.
your mama had a
readers.
whole set of them encyclopedias, and you know, the day before papers due, you open their books trying to make it happen.
It didn't even hit me how old the material might be. I just knew I had an encyclopedia.
Yes. and the truth of the matter is, the older something is, the purer the content.
Yes. Yeah.
Society hasn't come in and reshaped it.
Right.
You know, hasn't touched it, hasn't put a spin on it. Okay. So if you want the truth, the further back you go, the more the truer things are, authentic, I should say. You know who William Shakespeare is, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Why do you know who William Shakespeare is?
because he wrote books.
Okay, and
Well,
he,
because
Or
he's being
whatever.
taught in school, he's being celebrated. He's like,
Yeah, but he's
yeah.
being celebrated because he wrote books.
Well, I understand, but lots of people wrote books that we're not celebrating, but we're celebrating him.
Well, you're right about that. And I don't know why I don't know why he specifically, you wonder why a person in that particular time period, why they were the one that people look to. But he might have been the one doing the most writing. He did a lot of writing. So, and it
on
wasn't
top of
easy
that,
writing back then.
and on top of that, he had a good marketing team because his stuff was actually performed. So he could
Okay.
write it
Right.
and perform it. So his marketing team got to two different audiences.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, that's
And
true.
the reason why we know who William Shakespeare is because there was a need to read something that was written by him. And that's what's going to happen, I believe, with this next generation. They're going to say, well, maybe Mama and Gigi and Ma Dia, maybe they had something. They didn't do everything right, but maybe they had something that we can use, and we're obligated to leave that for them.
You're right. Well, they did more right than is being done right now. I mean, they had wisdom. Some people go street sense. They had mother wit. They had common sense, and they worked with their hands and they worked with nature. So they got to see the cycle of life firsthand all the time, and they didn't waste. They weren't wasteful either. They were frugal because they didn't have a lot.
Right.
And so we can learn something from that, because we are wasteful. This last several decades, we do a lot of wasting. We're wasteful. Two or three generations of being wasteful. So
there's also the benefit to the older person, to the grandparent, to tell stories to their children and the grandchildren, that keeps their mind active. Okay. It reminds them of a time when they were empowered. We have this loneliness epidemic going on now. And so it's an opportunity for them to pour out their heart. They, improve memory because they got to go back in the cobwebs, shake them off, and pull that information, forward, reduce stress. They have a boosted self-confidence because I thought I was about ready to see my maker, but now somebody want to know something I know. Okay. And then emotional intelligence. They have better emotional intelligence. Whenever you attribute value to something, it increases its longevity. And that's the benefit for seniors in telling their stories to their grandchildren.
okay, now where do you do your program? Is it in person? Is it online? How do you execute your program?
Well, we're doing it in person now.
You go to the senior homes?
Yes. Well, I went to, where did I go?
Okay.
It was so cute. Acres Home.
Okay.
Acres Home, and did a session with those wonderful seniors there. And the reason why I know it's a good idea and a God idea, I called around to a lot of the senior places that we have here in Houston. And someone said, well, we already had somebody come and do this. I said, this is a good idea. If somebody else is doing it, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a boom in senior assisted living facilities or building or apartments. It's people who are retired, but they're not physically impaired, they're not mentally impaired, but they want to live around people in their similar age group And they also, some of them have sold their homes because they don't want to do the upkeep anymore. It takes a lot
Right.
to upkeep a house.
It does.
So there's lots of them. I mean, that's a real growing field.
And I've had the experience of working with seniors. I've worked with people who are in their 80s, a retired lawyer who was a prominent lawyer here in Houston. And when we did his first book, actually, I had him break his books into two, fiction writer. And he wrote these wonderful stories that were centered in Houston. And it was just, how can I say it, about baseball and golf, things that he loved. And then I had the opportunity to work with another beautiful senior woman who worked in the restaurant industry. And she wanted to tell her story about how, when it wasn't popular to work with people in the LGBT community, that she actually was working with them and being a mom, you know, because they had been abandoned and all that other kind of stuff. And the things that she went through to try to rescue them, taking them to church and all that other kind of stuff, and praying and just being the mama, the parent that they did not have. A beautiful story, sincere, loving heart that she had. And then currently working with a retired naval captain who lives in Hawaii, and I keep threatening him that I'm going to come and visit. Okay. And he has he had some beautiful stories. He writes fiction, political suspense and all that wonderful kind of stuff. But he wrote this wedding book for dads who thinks about the father of the bride.
Right.
And because he's a doctor, MD, he understands the emotional stress that fathers of the bride go through and the things that they have to deal with. You know, it is about the bride, it is about the groom, and then comes the mother of the bride. But the father of the bride has to go through something too. He's losing his little girl to this strange man, you know what I mean? And so I've had the opportunity to work with several seniors, and it's always been a journey worthwhile. So that it got infectious. And I decided I want to keep doing this. You know, I had a young lady, and I call her a young lady, but she was an older woman who finally got her cookbook done with all these recipes from her grandma and her mother, put them all in her recipes. Have you ever been over somebody's house and you said you wanted something sweet and they go in the kitchen and make it up? And the next thing you know, it's sitting in front of
Oh,
you.
no, I
Not in
haven't.
this
I
day and
haven't.
age.
It's
And if you come to
happening.
my house, I can cook, but no, I have to plan. My stuff is all planned. So no, I'm not gonna go in there with anything.
That's this woman. She did not
Okay.
visit her one day, and that voila, I'm looking
So
at.
what did she make?
So I think it was a banana pudding.
Oh,
Wow. And
With
that's
cream.
complicated.
Yeah, I mean, she whipped that thing up. I didn't even know she was doing it. I just thought she was
In
in
the
the
kitchen, okay.
kitchen. That lets you know something too. I didn't know she was cooking in the kitchen. So I'm sharing this with you because we have an obligation also to expose these diamonds in the rough to our young people so that their hearts can be stout. They can understand that everybody contributes to the value of who they are and who they will become. They won't know how to act when they're old if they don't, you know, do
this is
their
true.
research. They
So
won't know how to act.
do you now only exclusively work with seniors?
I'm working to get there.
Okay.
I'm working to get there. I'm thinking by 2025, I will be completely there. I've got
Oh.
clients that are a lot younger than my seniors that are still holding on. And I'm like, okay, we're going to work with you because we've established this relationship. But what really sparked a fire in me was me getting older and me realizing some of the things that my grandparents said, especially my grandmother said to me, is the reason why I'm able to walk through the hard places in life.
Wow.
Think
Yeah.
about this. My grandmother was a janitor, and tell me if I'm talking too much. My
Not at all.
Yeah, this is your time.
oh,
Yeah.
thank you. My grandmother was a janitor at Hampton University.
Oh,
When
that's
it
my
was
hometown
Hampton,
area.
yeah, when it was Hampton Institute.
Institute. It was when I grew up, it
Yeah.
was Hampton Institute.
And so when she was there, I'm thinking, Grandma, you a janitor, okay. But my grandma would take me to symphonies and plays,
Hmm.
things that a janitor
No,
wouldn't do.
you wouldn't associate
No,
with
no.
Right, right.
And so when I got older, I began to realize Grandma was shaping me, helping me to see another life, having me to come on the campus. You see where I'm
Okay.
coming from?
Yes. Mhm.
And the educational institution and watching the young people go and come and enjoy the finer things of life, that was huge. Now I realize what she was doing. And personally, I didn't know my grandmother was a certified teacher.
Mm.
But when she started having children, she decided to raise her children versus going into the teaching field.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
And that explained a lot.
Yes.
Missing pieces of the puzzle explained a lot and filled some vacant places in me. But if there hadn't been some kind of chronological picture or book or my aunts or uncles who would share those stories with me, I would have never known.
You know, I've met a lot of people, and a lot of, especially older people who didn't even know their mothers were in sororities. I remember meeting a lady who said that she never knew that her mother was in a sorority, and then when she joined another sorority, she felt so bad because she could have followed in her mother's footsteps, but she never knew her mother was in a sorority. And I think sometimes maybe older people are doing certain things when they're younger, and they don't share that information. They don't really talk about it. So it never gets passed on. And then when the child finds out about it later, they're like, oh, I wish I had known. So I think that's another value for writing these books, writing these memoirs.
And there's not a whole bunch of folks who I don't mean, well, maybe it's because of what I do, but there's not a whole bunch of folks that I meet who don't want to write a book. I mean, I live in a senior community, as you can
Yeah.
see, I'm a senior.
Oh, okay.
I go out of my door and I walk up and down the hallway. They know me now as the author.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it.
The author, that's what they come. They might not remember my name, but they remember that about me. And
Right.
I'm often approached. I really want to write a book. I want to write a children's book. I want to tell my life story. I mean, I'm like, somebody needs to listen and really
Yes.
hear, because those are diamonds in the rough, so valuable, not just to us, to the individual who is writing the book, but even more so to the generations to come. And it is huge. Look, how many movies have you seen where the end of the world happened? And
Oh,
then,
you mean apocalyptic
Yeah.
film?
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and somebody ran across a book and that let them know how to find the answer to how to live in the midst of that. How many books and movies have you seen that happen in? It's true,
That's true.
ladies.
That is
Yeah,
true. That
that's
does
why
happen in
people
films.
do time capsules.
Yeah, people do those time. They're still
Yeah.
doing time capsules. So, and normally it's like 50 years in the future when it's time for them to open. They had that one movie about the time capsule that ended up being weird. I think it's called Knowing.
It ended
The
up
one with
being
Nicolas
weird.
Cage. Nicolas Cage, and then they pulled up the time capsule, and it was a little girl that was hearing things and seeing things, and then he could see stuff that was gonna happen before it happened. I don't know if any of y'all saw it. It was a pretty good movie until the middle, and then it veered off in a weird direction. That a lot of times, I don't know who did the movie, but some movie makers, they can't just do a straight plot. They have to veer off into weirdness. And and it messes up the film to me. But anyway, that's
Well,
a segue, and I digress. So
well, Gabrielle Hamilton kind of co-signed what I was saying. She said, my great grandmother was an Eastern Star, and she learned that when she read her obituary.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
well, aren't the Eastern Stars kind of secretive, aren't they?
Well, it's not a secret that you're an Eastern Star. It might be
Oh,
secret about
okay.
some of the things
Some of the
that
things they do.
that we do. I'm an Eastern Star myself,
Oh,
but
okay.
it's not a secret. It's okay to tell people you're an Eastern Star.
Okay, but okay, this is my first time hearing about you being an Eastern Star, so it must be a
See?
secret.
That is funny. She's been keeping that secret from you, Gwen. That is funny. Yeah.
You do know I'm a Zeta, though, right?
Of course. You don't have any Eastern Star stuff behind you on there. You've never mentioned that to me one time.
Okay, I'm gonna have to get my jewelry and
Okay,
stuff.
so
You know.
So anyway, Sharon, in the time we have remaining, we don't have that much time left. But and we brought you on earlier than your time because the first guest had an emergency with her mother, a medical emergency. So you got more time than you normally would have.
Yeah.
But I want to find out about your books because you are an author and you write books. So we want people to know about that before you go.
Now, look, y'all know I've been in the industry for a while.
You have.
As a coach, I've been around for about 17 years. I don't mind saying it because it's the truth. And I spent a lot of that time not working on building my career, but helping other people build theirs and get a good start. And so, that was a choice I made because I like to serve people. This is more than a business for me. This is a ministry. And when I'm working unto the Lord, I understand the importance of purpose. But I've got an open door, and I decided to step away from inspirational nonfiction books or self-help books for a minute. And I did a novella, The Untold Love Story.
Okay, a nice cover.
Thank you. This is Princess Zara. In the next book, she'll be Queen Zara because there's a lot of stuff happening in this book.
Okay.
But I was so inspired when I went to see The Woman King. It was 4 Black women in, that was all that was in the theater up here close to the Woodlands. 4 Black women in the theater. And literally at the end of The Woman King, one woman got up and was dancing. I mean, it was like a praise for not just the movie, but a praise for the beauty of the Black woman and being powerful. And so one of the things that I believe as a Mama J, they call me Mama J, my play daughters call me Mama J. Believe it or not, I heard from 3 of them today. I was like, oh my God, I'm gathering them up all over the place. But the moral of the story is simply this. Again, thinking about leaving a legacy for them. And what is really missing in this younger generation is the embracing of the virtue of being a good woman.
Yes, yes.
Okay?
That's
Being a woman who is empowered, a woman who wants good to happen in everybody's life, but more so having the morals and the values that cultivate living a good life and walking in your authenticity. And that's what Princess Zara is based on, that Proverbs 31 woman. And believe you me, I mix it up, baby. We got a little bit of Wakanda in there.
Okay.
We got a little bit of the Woman King. We got a little bit of that interracial stuff going on. We got a little bit of everything.
swirl. There's a swirl.
Girl is in there, but wait a minute.
I cannot with you too.
I'll just make this short. Baby, all I can tell you is Princess Zara is a strong woman, and the Lord sends, and you will find this as a common thread in all of the novels that I write from this point on. An older woman comes, as in accordance in the scripture, to mentor her. In this book, she's being mentored by a woman on how to be a good wife, how to be Proverbs 31 woman. In the next book, she's going to be mentored on how to be a woman warrior on her knees. So all I'm telling y'all, just get ready, get ready, get ready.
All right, TD.
Okay. So who was the model for your cover?
Actually, that's really stock art.
Is it?
Yes, powerful, isn't it?
I've
It
never
is. It's
thought that was
beautiful.
stock photo. That's a beautiful photo.
Yes.
And it says a lot,
yes,
without words.
Yes, it does. You see the crooked crown?
Mhm.
Yep.
Okay, there's some symbolism in that, y'all.
That's really that's a nice photo.
Thank you.
So because sometimes the stock photos can be limited for us, it takes a little bit of work to find the one that you need. So let people know how they can hear about your program. And if you're doing it in person, they would have to be here to participate. But are you planning to do anything via Zoom or online?
Absolutely, I have to, because I plan on reaching a wider audience. But Houston is my test market. And we're walking it through. We're seeing what works and what could work better, that kind of thing. So if you really, really want to reach out to me, you want to meet me in person, we are going to be at I Always Win conference on Friday in Spring, Texas. Go to the Secret Place bookclub.org. And if you all
that's where I know you from.
Yeah, if you don't know about the Secret Place Book Club,
That is an awesome book club. I've judged that competition twice.
Oh, and they're going to have a competition on Saturday, but I'm teaching.
Dang, I wish I was there.
And then Mike Howes, my friend I've co-authored with before, he's going to talk about book marketing. So we're doing a tag team thing on Friday at 10 o'clock. So just go to the Secret Place bookclub.org and you'll get the information.
I'm putting it in the chat.
And then the other thing I want to say, look, I'm a granny. And so guess who I have become? Super Author Granny. So go to superauthorgranny.com. Baby, I got me one of those little avatars with me in a superwoman suit with this gray hair, and I'm popping. So you want to make sure you go to superauthorgranny.com and check me out. And that's who I am. So you can also, if you want to send me an email, Sharon C. Jenkins at gmail.com. And last but not least, I just want to remind you of the importance of everybody that is around you, old, young, whatever. They serve a purpose in your life. Do not forget to value them, because you never know what's in that person that God sent for you to be the best that you can be.
Amen.
Well, that was a good word to leave on that note. And
Yes.
it's important for us all to love and respect all people. That doesn't mean you're a doormat, though. I just want to say that. But I love and respect all people, but I won't be disrespected by anybody. So that's my position. Well, Sharon, good to see you. I haven't seen you for a while, and I got to see you virtually, and hopefully you'll get a chance to attend the festival this year.
I think I am. Y'all gonna laugh again. Y'all, I done went back to school.
Oh, well, you're never too old to learn.
Why
I
would
done
you
went,
laugh at that?
huh?
Why would you laugh at that?
No, you're never too old.
I done went, look, I done went back to school. So, but I have you, believe it or not, I have you on my agenda to come to the conference this year, the festival this year. I want some of my authors to come and experience this, because it's so very important.
Yes.
Yeah, being around all these people in the literary industry, it's an amazing boost. So we'll see you then. We'll see you in October then.
Okay, thank you for the opportunity. God bless.
Okay.
It was wonderful speaking with you. Thank you so much for all you're doing.
Oh, you're welcome. Always, always. And happy writing.
Okay. All right. Thank you.